Yo, what's up, YouTube? Back again, and today I'm going to something a little different. I've had a few people ask on stream how I do my transitions on OBS from scene to scene. Super cool, like animated transitions. So it's actually super simple with one plugin. So we're going to go through that today. People see my transitions on stream. They think it's super difficult to do. I have my webcam going from one size to another. I have different sources, changing sizes and moving around. It looks super professional. I love it, but it's actually super simple to do. All you need is a simple plugin and setting your scenes up in a certain way within OBS. So let's get into this. Now, before we get into setting up the plugin itself and the transitions, I'm going to show you how I have my OBS set up and some things that you want to make sure you probably also have set up and just to watch out for and remember ready for the plugin because it'll make your life a lot easier. So looking here on OBS, you can see all my different scenes here, the sources on each scene. So the thing about the plugin and the transitions is it reads source names. So it matches source names. So the big thing is you want to make sure the same source has the same name on every scene. So my webcam and audio stack. So the way I have this set up is down here you can see I have subscenes. Now, a thing that a lot of people probably don't realize on OBS is you can do a scene as a source. So what I have is subscenes. I've got 3 different ones. One for now playing, which has the song info stuff in. I have my audio stack. So rather than on here having microphone, PC audio, Discord, if you've got that separate, all that, I have just one input, one source called audio stack. Makes it way easier to match things up across scene to scene. And that scene is what you use across your production scenes, as I have them called. So you see you have webcam there, and I also have webcam there as well. Now, something you will notice is I have a different crop on my Just Chatting and desktop. That doesn't matter as long as the name is the same. So as you're setting your scenes up, just take that into consideration. Make sure that your webcam, audio stack, whatever you have over multiple scenes, make sure the sources are all named the same. It'll help you a lot later on. So now that you've got your scene set up and you've seen how I have mine done and you've taken into consideration the things, let's get this plugin installed. Now, if you've installed a plugin before, great, you know what you're doing. The link is in the description. Go ahead and get that installed. It is called Move Transition for OBS. If you don't know what you're doing, click on that link. It'll bring you to this page. This big download button here, click that. Now you've got a couple of options. You've got Windows Installer or just Windows. Now, if you know what you're doing and you want to manually install a plugin, go ahead and grab the Windows one. If this is your first time or the only plugin you've installed, I recommend just grabbing the Windows Installer one. What it does is it reinstalls OBS with the plugin installed as well. Your scenes and stuff will carry over, so you should be good there. One thing to note is this is for OBS Studio. I don't know if this will work properly for any other version of OBS, whether you have the Twitch version or the Streamlabs. In that case, you may need to do the manual version, but there's information on that link about how to do a manual install if you haven't already. So you'll download this, install it, and jobs are good. So now that the plugin is installed, we can start having some fun. So I'm just going to show you how to set up a basic scene transition, just like I have desktop to Just Chatting, similar situation, super simple to set up. So what you're going to do is you're going to come down here to this drop down, it says under scene transitions. Now if you don't see this, you're going to go up here to view, docs, and then just make sure scene transitions is ticked here. So you go back down to this drop down, click down, you're going to click add move. Once you add move, it's going to bring up this properties window. Now there's a bunch of settings here that you can play around with. But there's three main important ones. There's matched items. I'll just make this a little bit bigger here. And bring that up. There we go. So we've got matched items, appearing items, and disappearing items. So matched items, these are sources on your scenes that are the same on your first scene and your second scene. Appearing items are new sources in your second scene. And disappearing items are sources that are in your first scene but will not be in your second scene. So, for example, my webcam would be a matched item, but say desktop view would be an appearing item, and a disappearing item might be you have a different overlay. So, like your just chatting overlay disappears. So that's kind of those things. Now, they each have different settings here, but just to keep this simple, and this is what I did anyway. Matched items, don't touch, leave it as is. It's fine default. I mean, feel free to play around, but I left mine default, it works fine. The two we're going to focus on here is appearing items and disappearing items. So for both, I changed the position to none. So click in here and pick none. Do that on both, and then transition, I choose fade. And do that for both. So once you've done that, you're going to hit OK. But it is a bit fast. So default, it's, I think, 200 milliseconds. I felt that was way too quick for me, so I increased it to 750 down here. If that's still too quick, you could increase it more. If it's too slow, feel free to decrease it. It's all personal preference. Also, you can spend some time here on these properties, and for appearing and disappearing items, you can play around with them. Essentially, these are positions where it will come in from or disappear from. I picked none, so it just kind of appears where it needs to be. Transition, you can choose fade, cut, fade to color. Like, you can choose how it transitions from thing to thing. I just like fade because it disappears out. So once you've got all those things set up, hit OK. There you go. You've got a basic transition. Now, as you swap between scenes, your webcam should move, position, change size if you've got it going to different sizes. Obviously for here, I have the desktop thing appears, have it disappear. Couple of things to note. So for me, on my desktop screen or scene, I have a portrait crop for my webcam. That's perfectly fine. Webcam is named the same. I've just done a crop on that source, and actually the transition works out the difference for me, and it swaps between the two nice and smoothly. Something that people have probably noticed the most. So you should be good there, and then you can play around with the settings, play around with like more complex setups. If you are having some problems, so if you're finding, say, your webcam disappears and then reappears in the next source, that's probably because it's named wrong, so it's not matching. It even, like, make sure you've got capital letters and everything the same. As long as they're matching, it should work. So if you are finding any issues like that, it's the first place I would look is the source name. If you're still struggling after that, if you go to the link and look in the forum, there's troubleshooting stuff there as well. So that covers the basic setup of how I do my transitions. Get a really nice professional look. Super easy to do, just one plugin. Took 5 minutes to set up. I do have some other effects that I use. So I have an intermission screen. My camera then blurs. If you're interested in seeing me explain those plugins, I can explain them in another video. Let me know down below in the comments. If you have other plugins that you know of and you think I should check out, again, let me know down in the comments below. If you did like this video, make sure you hit the like button. It actually really helps the algorithm and therefore really helps me out. I do appreciate it. And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. I've got plenty more videos on the way. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next video.